Hello, West Ham Network. It's Holly, and I am here to chat you through 3 different reasons that I think we are about to turn a corner at West Ham. Yes, West Ham Network, I want to chat you through 3 different areas that I expect us to upgrade massively. Now it looks as though everybody at the club is going to have more clear-cut roles. First up, I reckon we could see an improvement in the way that we introduce youth team players. So managers in the Premier League are only incentivised for short-term success because the average length of their stay at any Premier League team is a lot less than it used to be. And when a manager's head is on the line, which at West Ham, let's face it, it is a lot of the time, they've got zero incentive to think long-term and take risks like bringing youth players into the first team. And this is where the youth often don't get those opportunities. They might get 10 minutes here or there when, there's an odd youngster that's looking particularly talented. But unless you have an absolutely exceptional player, there's often a disconnect between the academy and the first team, which is why you often lose players, players that could have had a future, players that often go on to do well elsewhere. And this is where you need someone in there, aka Steiten and Noble, to think about the long-term opportunities for players and build on the long-term future of the club and the bigger project, I guess. So could we see this help us potentially convince the likes of Mabama to stay at West Ham and sign another contract? You never know. There are many, many benefits of that. So I think that's going to be huge for us. Second up, there are signings. So under the setup, it looks like we're about to start using. The head coach will have a say in who we bring in and what he needs in terms of players. But realistically, the players will be given to him that fit the brief by Steiten and Noble, who will go out and find whoever it is that's required based on what the manager thinks we need and based on what they think we need. And we can't forget the fact that obviously Sullivan does still get the final say on budget, which could be where we face challenges. I really, really hope not. But because the head coach looks like they could have less of an influence, this could see us make signings a lot faster because there's less going back and forth. And this will mean that we don't need to miss out on players by dilly-dallying around, hopefully. And it works at other clubs. You have somebody in charge of strategy, like a technical director, such as Tim Steiten, and they continuously plan and they source everything that's needed for the coach to focus on coaching. They don't have to worry about the transfers. Obviously, they give the final nod that they would be happy bringing this player into their team. They say, yes, we need a striker. They do have some input, but they don't need to concern themselves too much to the point where they're not focusing on managing, coaching the side. And the focus has been on Moyes so much in recent years that Sullivan hasn't really been questioned much recently. And now the setup they're about to introduce looks like it's really going to start highlighting whether or not the funds are made available for us to thrive under the new manager and the new setup. And this is going to be pivotal. We've got Tim Steiten in charge of strategy, with Noble sort of knowing what we need as well in there. We'll have Lopetegui coaching the team, making sure we do what we need on the pitch. And then the final missing puzzle piece is going to be getting the budget and the funds available to facilitate that. And finally, the third one, a new way of business. So it looks as though there's going to be a new way that we plan, because previously we've kind of done everything a little bit back to front at West Ham. We've signed someone and then we've worked out how they fit in, whether they're a manager that's good at fighting relegation, but then we don't know how to use them when a team has more success, or a player that's skilled but not in a position that we actually really needed to prioritise that window. There've been many times where we've not done things the right way around, and it doesn't always make sense. But there is one thing that we have been lacking, and the reason that I think all these mistakes have been made over the years and we've not been particularly efficient with who we've brought in, and why we've had so many strikers, for example, that have then struggled to fit in and then we've sold them for a loss, and that's that we haven't had a clear direction. And this, for me, is what Tim Steiten brings when he's given the opportunity to actually roll with it and not have to compromise and things like he has obviously been having to do with Moyes, because when Moyes came in, he was in charge of kind of a lot of stuff, and then Steiten's been brought in and we had rumours about them butting heads and disagreeing over things, and then they had to compromise because they had to work together. But now Tim Steiten's been here the longest. We've got a new manager coming in. It's going to be a head coach, not a manager, and this is where it's going to be really good, because previously there've been a few things that have been holding Tim Steiten back. One being the fact he basically came into a club where the existing manager had an agreement that he had a significant input into who he signed. And for two people that are quite opinionated, one manager that's got his head on the chopping block and one technical director who's obviously going to be ambitious and wanting to try new things, for them to agree on the same players takes a hell of a lot. And then there's the budget made available. There's the injuries we've had, the financial fair play restrictions and all that fun. So We now find ourselves in a position where Stuyton is the one who's been here the longest and he's in charge of the strategy. Then you bring in the head coach instead of having a manager that gets involved with all other aspects of the business. Instead, they just focus on the coaching, on the team, and communicate their needs to Stuyton, who goes on and does his job to go and recruit the players that we need. And this means that we have got one person leading the way, hopefully keeping us going in a straight line rather than a wiggly line where multiple people all have their own ideas, end up compromising, and ultimately nobody gets their vision and we end up with a bit of a mishmash of players and ideas that don't really match the manager's style of play. So those are the three areas that I think West Ham are going to improve on massively. If we take this route where we have Tim really sort of at the helm, working out where we're going, and then everyone else fits in the puzzle pieces with their bits of expertise there, I think we could be onto a really good thing, something that we've not really had in a very long time because there's been so much turnaround. You look back to even when we had like the likes of Big Sam, nothing has been a long-term project. And now we've got the opportunity where we are still a desirable team for players to come to, where we can start to really build, hopefully hold on to our talent, but bring new people in and step it up a level. Even although we could have potentially done this a season earlier, I feel like we can't look back and sort of be sad about what has happened and what's been. But I feel like right now we're in a really good position where it's not gone, it's not over. We know we've got talented players on our books and we can have a good transfer window and go and smash next season. So yeah, if Stuyton and Lopetegui can work together and the board backing with the finances required over the next couple of years, we could be looking at one exciting long-term project at West Ham. You heard it first here. So yeah, drop us a comment, letting us know your thoughts, and I'm going to be reaching out to them. My brain has literally just imploded. I am going to be reacting to them soon in a video. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and drop us a comment down below with your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. We do really appreciate it. Have a great one. And until next time, come on, you Irons.